Thank you for coming, Anna.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay, let's start super simple. Like, who are you? Like, how long have you been dancing? Where have you been dancing? And when did you start?
So I started pretty young, like 3 or 4, and I was just bouncing off the walls at home. And my mom was like, I need some peace and quiet. I need something that's going to wear this kid out. And so she just dropped me off at the closest studio available, which was a Classical Ballet Academy, which doesn't exist anymore. But it was eventually absorbed into Ballet West, and I just stuck with it.
You are from Utah.
From Utah, yes.
Salt Lake?
About an hour south of Salt Lake.
Okay.
Yeah. It became part of Ballet West in, I think, 2012 or 2013. So I stuck with it there. I hopped between like a couple different studios, but nothing ever stuck. I always went back. And then, I got absorbed into Ballet West. And so...
How did you like it? Did you like ballet from the beginning, or like you wanted just to dance? Because there is a difference, right?
Yeah. I definitely liked dancing, and I liked big movement. I liked to like jump. But I really couldn't stand ballet. Like, I hated it. I hated it so much. My mom would drop me off late almost every day, and I would hide behind the doors so that I didn't have to go into class until my teacher found me, and she'd be like, get in here.
Wow.
But I also couldn't leave it alone. Like, once I found something that I couldn't do in class, I was like, I need to do this, even though I hate it.
It's funny. I mean, for me, it's kind of similar. Like, the first 3 or 4 years of ballet, I hate it. I'm like, why do I have to be in a bar for 2 freaking hours?
It's too long.
It's too long. Like,
both sides? No.
Like, why? Yes, I totally agree. That is funny. But, okay, so you start feeling like these things, I want to do it better.
Yeah. I remember watching the older levels and, like, seeing all the cool stuff that they could do, especially on point and getting lifted.
Did
I was like, I want that. And I wanted it so bad, it, like, hurt physically. I was like, I want
they can
it.
jump. What? How they're doing that?
They get to move and express themselves. And so about, like, age 11 or 12, that switched. And I realized this is what I want to do. Oh, no, it takes a lot of work. Okay, I guess I better get started.
Yes. Did the school have, like, a different forms of dance, like, hip hop, jazz, and all of that?
Yeah, so it was primarily ballet, of course, but we had a contemporary modern teacher who grew up doing more like competition style dance and folk dance. And so she taught primarily contemporary, and she was like my only contemporary teacher all the way through. But she would also give little classes here and there of like jazz and folk dance and hip hop and whatever else she thought was good for us. So I was very lucky in that way. Good. Yeah.
Huh. And when did you decide, okay, I'm going to become a professional? Like, this is what it's going to be?
11 or 12.
11 or 12. So you decided pretty young.
Yeah. I kept it to myself, though, because I was like, Mom and Dad might not approve of that.
Oh,
but
really?
I'm just
Why?
going to keep that in.
Do you have, like, family members that are artists or things like that?
I have a distant relation who's a ballroom dancer. But nobody in my family is like a professional artist.
Okay. Oh.
Like performing artist.
Take it?
They were like,
okay.
You're really smart, though. You could go to medical school. How about being a doctor? Please be a doctor.
How about making some money? Some
exactly.
real money.
Exactly.
It's probably so hard for a parent that is no part of the arts to be like, my kid wants to be in the arts.
You
like,
want to do what?
You want to do what? Yeah.
Yes.
Why did you decide to go to college?
A couple of reasons. When I was 16, I actually am a very organized person. I like to have everything mapped out.
Okay.
I made like a color-coded life map of like, by high school, I will have graduated with an associate's degree from my local community college. At 17, I will audition for the University of Utah, get in on full scholarship, graduate with a degree in ballet, start dancing professionally at Ballet West as I'm working on my graduate program for a master in genetics counseling, which is like a part-time job. At age 27, I will get married, like down the line. And then I auditioned for the U of U, and I only got accepted into their modern dance program, which is not what I wanted. I was like, well, that throws off the whole plan. And I knew at 17, I wasn't ready to like go off and join a professional company. And just growing up at Ballet West, I knew that they weren't going to accept me into like an apprenticeship or training program. It just wasn't going to happen. So I was like, well, I want to dance professionally. BYU has a good enough dance program. I didn't know much about it at the time, but I knew they had a performing company and they toured around the U.S. and I'd get to do big ballets because they had money backing behind the program. And so away I went.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. I cannot believe that you have like a perfect plan of how it was supposed to be. But at the same time, you don't strike me like a person who, if the plan doesn't work out, like you're just gonna be bummed out.
Yeah.
I feel like you're ready to find the way around it. This is what I like.
Yes.
I think there is nothing wrong with having a plan as long as you are okay with morphing the plan, like changing it around.
Everything's going to go wrong right from the start.
Good. No, I like it that you have that in mind. Yes. Because for me, it's actually the opposite. I never really have like a true plan of like, this is what is going to happen. I just kind of like flow with it and see what happens.
Yeah.
I like it. So it is a big decision to pick college. You base the decision on like, I don't think I'm going to get into a company, or like, why?
Yeah, there were a couple of reasons. I didn't think at that point, because just looking at myself objectively and my technique and what I was doing, I knew I could maybe get into some companies, but I wasn't ready at 17 to like move out of the state, because that would be the only option for me. And I didn't really know how to audition. And I knew I wanted a little bit more like formal training and a lot more attention to my training before I tried the professional route. And I also wanted to start having a backup plan for when I had to leave ballet, because it's a short career.
It is a short career.
And I do want to make money someday.
Someday. In a couple of years.
Hey, you know, whenever my femur breaks in half is what I always say.
Hopefully it doesn't, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, the worst injury I could think of. But taking like prerequisite classes in preparation for grad school for when I want to go back.
Do you think it's kind of like a best option to go into college, or like now that you went, do you think it's good to have that you went through college, or do you think it would have been better if you just jump into a company?
I think it really depends on the college you go to, because not every dance program is created equal, and not every dancer has the same needs.
I agree.
Yes. So the program that I went to was great, and it was definitely changing year by year, getting more serious and like getting different faculty and backing. So I would say if you want to go to the professional route and you also want to go to college, you should find a college that has either like a specialty performing group that you can like seriously study and train with, instead of just like, I'm going to take ballet 101 every day, and by the end, maybe I'll be ready for a company. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to go to a college where I could dance from 7:30 a.m. to like 2 p.m., which is kind of already preparing for a professional schedule.
Yeah, that's pretty... You know, I never went to college, so I don't even know what it's like.
Yeah.
And I kind of have like that question, like, did you feel like going into college brought up what you thought about dance? Or like, oh, I can make this an actual career. Like, it's not just my dream. Like, I can see it as about...
Yeah. The other great thing about college is that you're not fully committed to company life, but if you have a good faculty, they can bring in a lot of networking opportunities and other professional dancers, and usually there's professional companies that will tour through your college town like theater. And so I was lucky enough to have a lot of guest choreographers and guest dancers come just for a week, hosted by the university because they're invested in the arts program, and just say, hey, here's my number, here's my email, I'm going to set this rep on you, here's what I do. Do you have any questions?
Oh.
And so I could get a little flavor of everything.
That is a good experience, yeah.
Yes.
That you wouldn't get unless you actually jump into a company.
Yes.
That is pretty interesting. There is something that you hated it, that you are like, why am I here? I mean, I'm sure there is something like...
That I hated?
You're like, freaking this, you know?
Yeah. The schedule's pretty grueling, because I wanted to be like a full-time dancer, but also you have classes. So my daily schedule, like pretty much all through college, I would wake up at 6 a.m. and I'd get to the studio at 7:30 because class is at 8. And if you miss like more than 2 classes, you automatically fail.
Oh, really?
So Monday through Friday, I'd have a 90-minute to 2-hour class, and then we would rehearse till like 12:30, whatever ballet we were working on. And then I'd have a 30-minute lunch break. And then because my degree is in simultaneously ballet and contemporary, I would have contemporary at the second half of the day.
Oh, wow.
So I'd go take a 90-minute contemporary class and whatever other dance classes were happening. And then at like 3 or 4 p.m., I had my academics. Ugh. So I'd go and take like algebra or anatomy or whatever else.
Your body's already like ready to go to sleep.
And then at midnight, I'd do homework on my laptop, and then I'd go to bed.
That's crazy. I mean, it's kind of similar. I grew up very much, my school was like that.
Yeah.
Also, my school was like an hour and a half away from my house. So we have to get up like 4:35. The school, the bus will pick you up around 6. So then you get there at 7:30, and the classes start at 8. Something like that.
Yeah.
Right until like 6. And then drive all the way back.
And there's more work to do.
And then it's more work to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I grew up doing that since I was 8.
Yeah.
Until like 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was, I hated it. But at the same time, like I feel like that gives you such a discipline that later on you're like, okay, I can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But right now I hate to wake up early. Like
Yeah.
I refuse to wake up before 6.
No.
Like, no for me. How did you were like, okay, I'm ready to take the step and going into a company? Because you could also have taken another route.
Yeah.
What was that decision making? Or like, how did you think?
How did I think? Going into college, I always had like the end in mind. By the end of this, I will be auditioning for professional companies. So even the year before I graduated, I was like making a list of companies that I wanted to dance with, companies that I thought I could get into, companies that might be a little bit much of a reach, and just like planning out what an audition schedule might be like and where I wanted to go.
You're a planner for sure.
Yes, I am.
I've never seen this.
Yeah. I try to be 50-50 planner, 50-50 spontaneous, and hopefully meet in the middle.
I'm in the middle. No, it's good. Keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stopped you.
No, you're great. So from the beginning, I was like, I want this college experience to prepare me for a professional company. And by my last year of college, I was so ready to be done. I was like, I can't wait to be out of here.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I'd sort of outgrown all the roles and like all the things that they had for me there. So I was very ready for a change and ready to take the next step. Yeah.
So you were like, okay, a company it is. Mm-hmm. When you started auditioning, what was the reception? How did you take it when people were like reaching out to you or not reaching out, or like how is this process? Because it's very difficult as a dancer.
Yeah.
And more if you haven't auditioned that much.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the other thing where college really helped, because my in college faculty brought in so many guest people and like guest choreographers and just guest professional dancers who would come and teach workshops, and I would flag them down after class and be like, hey, can I get your number? Can I get your email? Can we talk? And so Eva Stone, she recently choreographed for Eugene Ballet. She kind of like became one of my like guardian angels, and she's like, whatever you want to talk about, kid, any advice you need.
That's good.
And she gave me this whole speech of like, you need to be best friends with rejection when it comes to auditioning. Like, you got to eat a bowl of rejection for breakfast every morning. So I took that to heart. And the first audition things that I sent into were all companies that I knew I would get rejected from. Okay. So I was like, I need 10 doses of rejection straight from the start to deaden my heart inside. So I'm ready for more.
But you never know.
That's true.
I'm glad you did it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But yeah, I was like, New York City Ballet. They're looking for a principal. And I'm like,
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I knew I wasn't going to get it. But I wanted the rejection letter so that I could like print it out and put it on my wall to motivate me. And I kept a tally. Like I had a tally in a document that was like the wallpaper of my computer of like, how many rejections? 37. Add a tally. 38.
That is hilarious.
It fuels me.
I can tell. I can see the fire lighting you up right now.
Yeah. You reject me, I'll show you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
so the year was dragging on, and I was like, I really hope by the time I graduate I have an offer somewhere. Please. And I got straight out of college, like you can't really get just a straight up job in ballet these days without first going through an apprenticeship. So I knew I probably wouldn't get paid my first year no matter where I went.
Mm-hmm.
But
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, even though I have a degree. But it was a matter of choosing one of those unpaid offers that would set me up for future success. So like, where am I moving my chess pieces that will get me to a better place? So I had some apprenticeship offers, one of which was at Ballet Fantastique, and I had a good feeling about it. But I also had, strangely enough, some academy offers. They're like, tuition is $5,000, but we'll give you a scholarship of $1,000. I'm like, no.
I don't want to go into
I'm
debt
too
for this.
old
Yeah.
to be doing that at 22 and paying tuition and also rent. So, yeah. I had a lot of rejections, but all you need is just one yes.
One yes.
That's all you need.
I agree. No, that's very good. I like it that you are like a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is also something that I wanted to talk about. I'll jump up into that later.
Yeah.
Let's go into the next step. So jumping into a company, a professional company, what are the differences or similarities you see with like going to college? Like, did
Yeah.
that prepare you well enough to be here? That's a
Yes. I definitely was more ready to jump into a professional setting after going to college, even just physically, because when you go to college and your like focus is dance and that's your emphasis in your major, like my day-to-day schedule through college was pretty much like what I'm doing now. I wake up and I dance all day, and then in the evening I either have a job or I do laptop work or whatever it is. So physically I felt very ready. I'm used to doing like 4 or 5 hours of point work a day. That was fine.
you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I was ready to go. I wasn't worried about that. But in a professional setting, the main objective of your directors or whoever is at the head of the room is to put on a good ballet and not necessarily focus and nitpick and train every one of their dancers.
It's not about that anymore.
Whereas that is the focus of like your college professors, because their job is to prepare you for the professional
Develop
company.
you.
You're the investment instead of the ballet that they're putting on. Even though they want to put on good ballets, they're dancers that they're invested in. So getting in here, it was like, okay, I need to, and I knew this before it even happened, I need to take my training into my own hands and see how I can push myself, because nobody's going to be watching me to help me improve. It's my job now.
Yeah. I mean, there is ways for everything to grow.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to do a tandu. Not anymore. It's like,
No.
I'm going to teach you maybe to bring that character to life. So then you can project better.
Yes.
But it's not like, okay, lift your leg. If you don't lift it, nobody's going to be like...
No one's pushing you. If you
No.
choose to do things halfway,
Yeah.
no one will say anything.
This is something that my school did very good since the beginning. Since like you are in the first level, they are like, this is the moment for you to work with, because the second you jump into the company, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You have to keep pushing yourself.
Yeah.
But it's very, very important. It's something surprisingly that you are like, I never expect the professional life could be like this or something, or like...
I think when I was younger, I didn't expect to have the professional dance job be so many things.
Yes.
Especially in a small company, like you're doing everything. More than just...
You're
I
just
show
a
up
dancer.
and I dance. It's like you show up and you dance, and you also lay Marley, and you also do this, and
And
you're
you help
also
with the marketing, and you
help
help
with
with this, and you are like around, and then the school, and there is kids, and then it's like, I
all the
totally
little
agree.
things.
That for me was a big shock, because I come from a school that is pretty well developed.
Yeah.
Like it's the biggest school in Colombia for ballet.
Yeah.
So like you are just a dancer. Like you barely help with anything else. They have the infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when I first went to New York and like being on a scholarship, being in all of this, and you're like, okay, help lift up the Marley.
What?
Help change all the sets. Like let's go to the warehouse.
Huh?
Warehouse.
I can point my foot. Will that help? Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like that has helped me so much more understand other parts of the business.
Yeah.
There is a lot of dancers that have no idea how that goes.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
I think is also super helpful. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's something to add to the resume for sure. Like, yeah, I dance, but you know what else I learned how to do?
I also learned how to do this, and I can do that. It's very, very helpful.
It's very valuable.
For what could come next into the career, because as you say, dancers,
Short.
it's like, right now I feel like the dance age to retirement has increased.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is happening everywhere in the whole spectrum of sports and athletes.
Yeah.
I think it's because the medicine has gone so much better too.
Yes.
And like all the PT and everything has helped us
Yeah.
develop longer. But it's still a short career. You cannot do it until you're 60.
Never know.
It doesn't matter how good you are or like how well you, but it's gonna break you.
No,
Like,
no.
This is something that is not natural
No.
for the body. Anyways, you know how you are a go-getter, moving into a new city, into a new state, into a new... How you deal with that? Because I feel like you're so good at this. And I want to people get a little bit glance of like how you approach this change.
Yeah. I know for a lot of people it can be scary, especially if you like where you're coming from, but I definitely feel that I had outgrown where I was coming from. Like a sweater was too small and I was ready to change out for the next thing. And so I wasn't terribly nervous. I was really excited. But I also know myself, and like big life changes is still a big life change, even if you're excited and ready for it. And so I was ready when I came here of just like, okay, I'm gonna go outside. I'm not gonna sit in my room and be sad once dancing is over. I'm going to try to meet new people. I have creative visions of I want to choreograph this, that, and the other, even though that's not formally what I was hired for. Just sort of try new things. Learning a new skill can be the easiest way to sort of combat depression from a move or anything that might come. And so I tried out swing dancing when I moved here. And I fell in love with it. And that helped a lot. It helped me meet new people in this new place. Thankfully, Eugene is kind of a small town vibe where everyone's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a friendly place. So I was lucky that way. And everybody in our company is wonderful, thankfully.
Everybody's very nice.
Yeah,
this is the best group
Yeah.
in a while.
Having just like everybody's wonderful. There's no like toxic clique, which is sadly rare for ballet.
Sadly, but yes.
Yes.
Which is kind of weird because it shouldn't be like that. I feel like
No.
there is room for all of us. Like all of us have something so special that we all fit. Like we all can do it. But anyways, I really like what you're saying. And to me, it was so surprising when you were like, I go swing dancing and I go salsa dancing. And I'm like, what? I have never met anyone that is like, okay, I'm going to go do all these things.
Yeah.
Like fresh out of a new city. I don't know. It's pretty wonderful, to be honest.
Oh, thank you. I like to constantly be the worst in the room at something because it means I have somewhere to go. And so I showed up to the swing dancing hall and I didn't know anything. And I was like, what is this? Learn something new, be the worst in the room for a little while. And it's nice because I have a dance background that secretly helps. And people are like, how long have you been dancing? I'm like, 3 days. They're like, what? That can't be. Ballet for like 20 years also.
But these 3 days, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you wanted to choreograph.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you've been involved with choreographing in all of these. Yeah. How involved have you been? Because I don't know to that extent.
Yeah. That was another great thing about college, actually, because my college, their performing company system, they have their top company, and then they have like their studio second-tier company, which is like semester by semester. And the one that I was in was the theater ballet, so it was like full year-round touring, a lot more performances. But every other semester or so, you could apply to choreograph on like the smaller ballet or contemporary company. So you'd have to go to the professor, whoever the director of that company was, and say, this is my proposal. Here's a minute clip of movement. This is what I want to set. These are the dancers from your company that I would like to set this movement on. Please. And then you wait a couple weeks to hear back. And so I think it was my freshman or sophomore year that I applied for the first time just on a whim, because I like to choreograph for myself, and I knew that, but I'd never choreographed on a group of dancers. And I asked for, I think, 11, and it was like a 4-minute long piece, and she said, sounds good. And I fell in love. I loved it.
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting. I have no desire in choreographing.
You never know. You might just have to try.
No, I feel like I like, for example, I rather to, when a piece is already choreographed, like maybe polish the details. So like knowing like, okay, this wasn't completely right. Let's change that to make that. But like to me, create a full new piece out of nowhere.
Not for you?
No. I like more the end part of things.
You like to polish.
I'm like, okay, you're done.
To be a good rehearsal director. I see.
But the rest, choreographing, no.
Yeah.
Somebody else do the work and then I make it look good or something like that.
That's fair.
How did you, did you start choreographing when you were young on yourself? Like,
oh, yes.
Which type of choreograph were you doing? You were doing kind of like ballet things? You were doing more modern, more like a mixture of things?
Yeah. I was pretty bunhead, like, just ballet. I'm going to do ballet for quite a while. And I think I was like, I think it was like 11 and 12 when I had my first contemporary class. And my contemporary teacher that I was talking about, she always sets aside quite a bit of class time for improvisation. And I remember I was like in class and like just trying to like bend my spine and I couldn't understand what she was asking. And she like came down next to me and she's like, sweetie, you have no idea what's going on. And I was like, no, I don't. She's like, that's okay. Just keep trying. And I was really bad at improvisation to begin with because everybody is. It's a skill that you have to develop. But she really helped me and like pushed me along and said, you're really good at this. Keep going. And improvisation, I think, really leads directly into to choreographing because it's
Choreographing.
just improvisation but slower. And so yeah, I would have rehearsal on Saturdays through high school in the morning, and then afterward, after everybody had gone, I would just improvise and set things on myself and whatever I wanted. And as soon as I was done, or the piece I thought was done, I would just let it go. I never had any dreams of performing it. It was like, this is just for me.
This is
Something
just
fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like how you say improvisation is the beginning of choreographing.
Yes.
I can see that totally. And for example, I hate improv. Like, no, no.
It's just like a muscle. The more like you work it, the
You-
more natural it becomes.
I totally agree with that. I mean, it's like everything. The more you practice it, the
Mm-hmm.
more skilled you're gonna become on it. Also, I like something that you say about like, I might not come here to be a choreographer right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like you're already thinking of what you're going to choreograph.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any specific idea that you are like, I would love to set this or like do this?
Yes. Actually, right before I came here,
Mm-hmm.
I submitted a piece to this festival in Santa Fe. And I wasn't expecting to get like accepted or anything. There was a cash prize at the end. It was something that I'd choreographed 2 years beforehand. But it did get accepted. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a B fan. I'm going to be moving. I can't do this right now. And all my dancers are gone. And so when I got here, I was like, but what if I submit to the same thing next year and I set a little piece on whatever B fan dancer is available, and I just have it in my back pocket ready to be submitted, and then I can turn around to our directors and say, hey, we got invited to this festival. Did you know that? Do you want to go?
You could do it. I mean,
Yeah.
why
yeah.
not? I'm sure some of the dancers will be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't interfere, like if it's not like a huge thing, like, oh, I have
Yeah,
to do
exactly.
more.
Exactly.
But also, people are happy to do new things and to create new
Mm-hmm.
things. There is something, I was watching a video, something yesterday about like how if you want to improve your career, meeting people and helping other people with their projects also
Yes.
helps you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, helping you choreograph something or like making that happen, you might be willing to also come and do something for me or like,
Absolutely.
and like we all are
Mhm.
going to keep growing into the thing that we hope for. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure everybody will be down to do it.
It's karma.
Yeah. And it's also proving I can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on, somebody's actually going to be like, I choreographed this. I'm going to pay you this set amount of money to choreograph.
Exactly.
But if you have never done it, how am I going to hire you? I don't know how talented you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it takes that step.
Even if it's just a little baby step and you're choreographing for like community theater on movers and non-dancers, like
Mhm.
that'll lead to the next thing. That'll lead to the next thing.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I totally agree. You know, I know that you are also involved into like all this aerial type of thing.
Mhm.
How did you can
How did that happen?
Yes. Well, it's probably like swing dancing. You just went for it.
Yeah, so back to college, actually. My college has a pretty extensive contemporary program as well, and they hired this faculty. His name's Adam Dyer, and he had a circus background and an aerialist background, and so his second year there, he wanted to have a small class to start training contemporary dancers into aerial. And it was supposed to be like hush hush secret, but I found out, and I like banged on his office door, and I was like, "Let me take your class, please, Adam, please, let me take your class. It looks so fun. I want to so bad." And he's like, "Fine, you can be on the wait list." And I showed up the first day, and I was like, "Let me take your class. I can do it. Look, I can do a pull up, please." Yeah, and somebody got a horrible fear of heights, and they got sick, and they
You're like,
left. And
this is my spot.
I was there. So, yeah, they had silks, rope, straps, and lira, which is like the hoop. And nobody wanted to do the hoop. And so I was like, well, here I go.
I'll do it.
Mm-hmm. So I took that class twice and got the experience, and mostly self-taught because it's kind of a sporadic class. But yes,
I like it how you are an opportunity taker.
Yeah.
And I love that. Because I feel like
Thank you.
sometimes we see the opportunities
Mm-hmm.
and we are afraid to take them
Mm-hmm.
because of the fear of like failing, the fear of, I don't know, whatever it could be.
For sure.
But I like it that you're like, you know, I see an opening. I think I fit here.
I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Why not take it?
And that's a very fair point. You know, sometimes the older you get, the more you realize that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you even forget about it.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to just live this autonomous life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, try to live it
This
because
is happening.
tomorrow
Yeah.
you can
COVID-19,
hopefully know
wave number whatever could hit again, and then you could be stuck in your home again. You never know.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's crazy. I really like it. You know, going into more things,
Mm-hmm.
you also kind of like to paint.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? I mean, you clearly are like an artist around it. Like you're really trying to see
thank
every
you.
medium, and like I like that.
Thanks. I had like a set of cheap acrylic paints that somebody gifted to me for Christmas, and I had dead point shoes, and I thought, you know, it'd be fun. I could put some paint on these and turn them into like Tinkerbell shoes and give them as a present to my cousin who had a birthday coming up. And one thing led to another, led to another, to another, and here we are.
Did you keep painting?
Did I? Do I? Yeah, I do. Less so now. A couple years ago, I started painting street shoes, which I haven't posted on my Instagram, but like Nike Jordans. I do a pair for my brother, like Converse, things that people can actually wear. Yeah.
Have you got any orders or somebody like, hey, I'm gonna pay you to do this?
Yes, I've sold quite a few pairs of heels.
Huh?
I like
Heels.
to do, yeah, like high heels. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Like which type of heels? Because I'm like, how?
Yeah. Like they're like boots, so you have like
Okay.
more canvas to paint
That
on.
makes sense.
Yeah. I did a few pairs of Converse. 'Cause people think that's fun. You paint like the Superman logo or whatever on it, and people are like, "Ooh, it's personalized." Yeah.
No, I like it. What is something that you hopeful for in the next common years, or like the next?
Oh, that's a good question. I hope for more unexpected things to happen, because even though like I'm a very strict planner, the best things that have happened have been completely unscripted
I don't know.
and tore apart my plan. So the things that I hope for is more of that. As much as I have dreams and hopes and goals and strict plans, I hope more things come along and destroy them.
No, I like that. I really like that.
I'm glad.
Like a lot. It's kind of funny. Have you thought in life? I feel like sometimes life tells you what you need to do, kind of like a little bit, or like you start seeing what is relevant to your life in the moment.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny. I feel like this is happening right now to me. Like live more in the moment. Go and try to, because I'm very reserved. Like I'm very like me.
And stay here.
But at the same time, I'm also like a risk taker.
Yeah.
I mean, I moved to this country without speaking English.
Yes.
So it's like,
It's very admirable.
you know, so it's like all these things. But I like it because right now it's kind of like a current thing, and you just brought it back into me.
I'm glad.
So I really like that. You know, just to finish, I ask this question to everybody.
Yeah.
How would you inspire somebody
How would I inspire somebody?
to be an artist, to be
an
a
artist.
painter, to take a risk?
I think most of what I do in life comes down to weighing one thing against another thing, especially when it comes to risk. Because, again, that bus could come tomorrow. It could be COVID-19 tomorrow. And if you're more pessimistic, one way to say it is to choose between the risk of having done something or the risk of never having tried something. So when you're confronted with a decision, do I go for it? Should I do something? Ask yourself, will I regret more having done it, or will I regret more never having even tried? And weigh that against the other. And that's your answer.
I agree with you. I mean, I have done that a lot.
Yeah.
I really, really like it.
Yeah, well,
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for doing
having
this.
me.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
Hopefully, if you guys have any questions or you guys want some more of Anna, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to rate us, review. It will help us a lot. And then I know that you like this content. And we can also bring Anna back. So let us know. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.